Hello, hello everyone! It is I, Whimsy, your favorite tarot reader whose name is Whimsy, here to deliver yet again another tarot reading on the political climate that we find ourselves in. So hello, hello. People have been asking a bunch of different questions. I think that's great. I try to get to questions as best I can. The first thing I want to talk about just briefly, I don't want to spend too much time on it because we've been doing a lot of time on the Mueller report and people want us to start doing other things. I see a closed reading of the full Mueller report by Nancy Pelosi. And I see acceptance and mild disappointment. So that tells me that the real investigation is not the Mueller report, and that the Mueller report is much more narrow than the full investigation, and I can't imagine the type of intelligence investigations that are going on would make its way into a public report. So it concerns me that people are chasing after something that may have little to no relevant information about the scope of the investigation. Interestingly enough, when I meditate on it, and I've been doing this meditation for a while, I very rarely wind up doing meditations until people who watch this channel asked me to do so. I didn't spend a lot of time meditating on the Mueller report because energetically, a lot of people who are doing remote viewings, meditations, etc., and documenting, a lot of us, when we get pulled into the energy, at least in my case, I kept getting pulled to the intelligence agencies, security, checking security. I saw the intelligence agencies spending a lot of money and energy on blocking cyber attacks, cyber warfare. A whole division of our security is going to be dedicated to cyber warfare and advancements in protection against cyber warfare. So that is where my energy traveled to when I meditated on the subject of America, Russia, Russian interference, hacking. It didn't go to the Mueller report. And I think that that's important to know because as far as the energy is concerned or the focus of the investigation, it's people inside the intelligence agencies working with Russia, or even if they're not working with Russia, being handing the information over to people that they shouldn't be handing it to. An example would be Chelsea Manning, is that the name? Terrible with names. That would be an example of somebody who worked in intelligence or who had high security that gave that information to somebody that they shouldn't have. Same with Snowden. So that's more the focus of where my energy goes than somebody like Trump and the Mueller report. The Mueller report also energetically did not start off with Trump as the focus. The focus was the election meddling, and it quickly evolved to the president being a possible person of interest. So I just, again, want to reiterate, don't be disappointed by the Mueller report because it's a small portion of the greater investigation. And so I think that the real investigation now will be focusing on foreign money, not paying taxes, hiding money, tax havens, etc. And I think that that's how they're going to get a lot of the folks. Okay, so there's some fun things people asked. We're all picking our candidates, the top... I picked the top 7. I was going to pick 5, and then I thought, I got 7. So these are the 7 candidates that energetically look to me, they feel the strongest in 2020. And I was very surprised when I did this meditation at who started to slip. But I'll tell you who I think will probably not be the top 20 candidates for 220. And I had said this a couple of months ago, and I thought, well, I'm going to go read on that again because I'm confused. It was, these are the people that I think are going to be eliminated. Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Jay Inslee, John Delaney, Marianne Williamson, Tulsi Gabbard, and John Hickenlooper, I think, won't make it to the top 7. We'll say top 10, top 7. The maybe list is going to be Julian Castro, John Hickenlooper, he was in both categories. I didn't know, I had mixed feelings about that. And Beto O'Rourke. Can go either way. And then the top candidates likely to be either VP, that are going to be picked either as a VP or will be the Democratic pick for president. So many surprises, right? Amy Klobuchar, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, am I saying that right? Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Andrew Yang. Those are the people whose cards were the strongest. I was real surprised when I saw that the old guard, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, would be knocked out. Kamala Harris, I was surprised about that. Jay Inslee, I really like. I'd love for him to be on the cabinet. If Pete Buttigieg becomes the president and then he takes someone like Kirsten Gillibrand or Amy Klobuchar alongside him, that would be an interesting combination. Also, I think Cory Booker has really good cards, and I would imagine he would probably pick Kamala Harris. I think Cory Booker is going to do better than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris looks great in California, but I don't see her doing as well in the Midwest and Florida. That is most likely probably going to be more Pete Buttigieg, and Julian Castro probably will do well in Florida. All right, so those are my predictions for whose energy feels the best for 220. I think Americans are just exhausted from the crazy. They're burned out. I don't think, contrary to what people believe, that Trump, if he does make it to debate in 220, I don't think he will debate well, and I don't think he will debate Pete Buttigieg very well. I think a calm, relaxed response, grounded in reality, which is kind of how Pete Buttigieg answers questions, would probably stand in stark contrast to how Donald Trump would start responding. And also, people have had 4 years to see Trump's policies in action, and people are very disturbed by them, shutting down the government, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think people are quite as into Trump as, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think. All right, so I wanted to throw cards a little bit today. The first question that people asked me to please look at was, will Trump close the southern border? So people are worried, I'm worried, we're all worried. It's gotten really spooky what this administration has been able to do. ICE agents randomly stopping and questioning people, people having to show their papers. It's just very disturbing for people, and now the border is being closed. Not good. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna use, which cards should I use for this? I think I'm gonna use the Radiance, which is a mix, which has inversions in it. It's not straight up. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Will Trump close the southern border? Will Trump close the southern border? Will Trump close the southern border? We shall see. We have to think good thoughts. Okay, success and victory and power are the base cards. Six of Wands, marching into victory in a battle. One has won the battle. It's a wand. Wands I read as my months. Pentacles give me weeks. Water I cannot tell. If you get a water card, forget it. You're not going to be able to tell the time with water cards. But I think of Wands as my month cards. 6 months, victory, power, coming into power, would suggest that whatever the conflict or problems are with the border, that we're probably going to see some type of resolution. Where we are at right now, the world, I would say yes, we're going to keep the border open because the world would be open. It's the 21st of the major arcana, and it's how one moves through the world. It's also a card of optimism. There are some interesting symbols also, if you look at it, that have to do with the astrological signs, how we address or deal with the challenges of the world. And what crosses it, an inverted cups. An inverted Queen of Cups is to pull back or to hold back on one's emotions. It can also be emotionally disturbed, emotionally labile or fragile energy crossing this. And so a page of Queen of Cups inverted over a world card would suggest some type of vulnerability, that someone is feeling emotionally vulnerable. Possibly even physically vulnerable. You can see here some concerns about commerce and concerns about work being done, concerns about whether or not commerce or trade will be interrupted. That would kind of be how I would interpret an inverted Eight of Pentacles. With a Seven of Swords underneath, which is a thief's card, fleeing, trying to get away with something. I think that this may violate some there are certain constitutional laws that might be the legal aspects here are questionable, whether or not he's going to be able to do this, just because this card, the Seven of Swords, sitting in what he marinates or the situation marinates, would suggest theft or trying to get away with something you're not allowed to get away with. And an Eight of Pentacles, as I've said before, is about mastery, being able to master or take control of a situation. We can see here it's inverted. It has also a financial component to it in the sense of making money, the master making money at his workbench. We're coming out of a state of inverted Two of Cups, which doesn't surprise me because we're at a time in the history of our government where there's very little negotiating going on. There's very little there's very little bipartisan support for the idea of closing this border and the near future, harvesting the money. Seven of Pentacles. So it's not looking like the border is going to get closed in the near future. Refusal to see the light, lack of awareness, lack of insight, on a journey trying to go to smoother waters, hopes and fears, juggling coin, final outcome, giving up the battle, walking away from a battle that cannot be won. There's going to be huge resistance. He can try to close the border, he can try to do this, but I would think that he's probably not going to succeed and will probably have to throw in the towel. Let me just do a quick clarification here. You see conflict and continued fighting. Maybe in August the situation will accelerate. You can see the August card, Eight of Wands coming in, Five of Wands could be exchange of ideas or some attempt to resolve the situation through communication or exchange of ideas, working together. If this were inverted, I would say there'd be fighting or conflict. The fact that it's straight up leads me to think that there's an awareness that there's a problem on the southern border, but by August, people are probably looking towards working together to find a realistic solution rather than something as aggressive as the president just closing the border or violating certain constitutional norms. Okay, interesting. So we could see a closure of the border, but the cards don't suggest that. The cards suggest that probably he won't be able to do that. There'll probably be some objection, and but probably this summer there'll be some more of a bipartisan effort to work together to resolve some of the crises going on. All right. The second thing that people ask me to do is to throw cards on Obamacare. People are concerned that Obamacare is going to be... Ooh, that just fell out. Not good. That Obamacare is going to be repealed and replaced, or just repealed. All right, let's look at the future of Obamacare. What is the future of healthcare, Obamacare in America? What is the future of healthcare in America? Will they repeal Obamacare? Will they repeal Obamacare? I heard a lot of people tell me they like my shuffle. Thank you very much, by the way. People comment on it. Work, Ten of Wands coming in, and the Emperor card. There's this feeling that I think Donald Trump really wants his team to come up and overhaul the system. It feels to me like it's just something that he really feels has to be done, and he's putting a lot of pressure on his team to come up with a workable solution. So he would like to repeal and replace Obamacare, and he's probably going to put together some kind of a team to aggressively pursue this. You know, it's interesting. Mitch McConnell, I just saw in the Huffington Post, he's just trying desperately before this president goes to put as many conservative judges as he can on the bench. And that's exactly what I saw when I did the meditations on Mitch McConnell a couple months ago, was that for him, his eyes are focused only on those judges, and whether he doesn't care about whether or not he likes the president or not. He's only focused on... He focuses solely on the power of the conservatives in the judicial branch of government. He's very single-eyed in his focus, Mitch McConnell, and that should worry people. Ten of Cups inverted, not a good sign, and the Page of Swords crossing over it. There's going to be a real doubling down, a real attempt to destroy Obamacare. You can see a Page of Swords coming, slashing, and the Ten of Cups, which is the wish card, family, home, security of one's home, security of one's family, is inverted above this question. And what is above? An offer that was rejected may be accepted. What is below? The businessman. The wish card becomes moving on. The Knight of Wands is coming. Movement. They really do want to change this. They really do want to do this. They don't want to pay for it. It's about the money. They don't want the money. They feel like the money that is coming into DC should not be going towards healthcare. It's about the money. Expect an incredibly angry, violent, aggressive push to throw out Obamacare because they don't like the budget. that unfortunately seems to be what I'm seeing. They can't let it go. They can't let it go. Trump is having a real hard time letting it go, so much so that it could theoretically cost him, if he does make it, which I question, if he does make it to 2020, which I doubt, it's questionable whether or not he will. It's questionable whether or not he's going to win the presidency. I mean, it's questionable whether or not he would even. Yeah. Inverted Ace of Swords. This is one of the worst things that Trump could be focusing on. He will do everything in his power. He will not let it go. He's trying to destroy Obamacare, and it will not bode well for him in terms of public opinion. But for whatever reason, he's just fixated on this. All right. For whatever reason, that's, it's interesting. They don't want to. It's like they want all the money for themselves. They want all the money for themselves, all the money for their projects, and all the money for their friends who help get them into their current situation. So they want to take it all. So what they don't like about Obamacare is the fact that the money is going to supplement for the people, and they would rather give it to their friends. I mean, I'm sorry to put it that way, but that's kind of how it looks. All right. Don't worry, though. I don't think he'll succeed. There's a huge backlash. All right. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks for all the support of this channel. I love doing this. Let me know what you want me to throw cards on, and tell me who your favorite candidates are for 220. And we can always take a look and throw cards in them as well. If you're trying to get in for a reading, please come see me. I'd love to give you a phone reading. You can see my information below. All right, take care, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye. Sometimes I think that I should organize some type of intervention or something, because my cat is obsessed with watching YouTube. And she's not just obsessed with the cat TV. She's gotten bored with cat TV. Now, I've started to notice that my cat is watching regular human television and spending hours at it. She's become fascinated by, for example, commercials, and she's obsessed with ballet, any kind of human movement. As you can see, she's completely riveted to this commercial on YouTube. I just don't know what to think about this.